The Grand Hall of Concordance was the largest chamber ever built by the Galactic Assembly. It floated at the center of the diplomatic station called Helios Gate, a city-sized structure suspended between the trade routes of 100 civilizations. Its ceiling was transparent crystal, revealing the slow movement of stars outside, and its floor shimmered with embedded light panels that changed color depending on which species was speaking. Tonight, the floor glowed deep crimson. That meant tension, and there was plenty of it. Hundreds of representatives filled the massive chamber. Towering insectoid ambassadors stood beside aquatic diplomats floating in glass tanks. Artificial intelligences projected themselves as columns of light. Armored warriors from dozens of star systems watched from the outer ring. At the very center stood a single human. Commander Elias Rowan tried not to show how small he felt beneath the attention of the galaxy. Humans had only joined the Galactic Assembly 8 years earlier. Compared to ancient empires that had existed for millennia, humanity was still considered young, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous. Tonight, Elias represented Earth alone. The charges were severe. An alien delegation had accused a human exploration fleet of violating restricted space near the Varelian Dominion, one of the most feared powers in the galaxy. The hall buzzed with whispers. At the far end of the chamber sat the Varelian Queen, Queen Elara. Even from across the hall, her presence felt overwhelming. The Varelians were tall, elegant beings with silver skin and luminous eyes. Their society was built on strict hierarchy and discipline. Their fleets had crushed rebellions across 3 sectors, and their queen ruled them all. Elias had heard stories about her. Cold, brilliant, unforgiving. No one interrupted Queen Elara. No one challenged her. And tonight, her empire had demanded punishment for humanity. A towering reptilian judge struck a staff against the floor. Commander Elias Rowan of Earth, the judge announced. You stand accused of trespassing into Varelian sovereign space and interfering with military operations. Do you deny this charge? Elias cleared his throat. His voice sounded far too small in the enormous hall. We deny the accusation, he said. Our ship was conducting a rescue operation. Murmurs rippled across the chamber. The judge's eyes narrowed. A rescue operation? The Varelian report states your fleet approached a classified battle zone. Elias kept his hands clasped behind his back. That's correct. And yet you claim it was a rescue? Yes. The judge leaned forward. Explain. Elias took a breath. Our scanners detected a damaged civilian transport drifting near the border. The ship had lost life support and was broadcasting a distress signal. He paused. It contained refugees. The chamber grew quiet. The Varelian ambassador rose immediately. He was tall even for his species, wearing armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Lies, the ambassador hissed. That transport was part of a rebel faction. It was scheduled for interception by our fleet. Elias shook his head. They were families, he said quietly. Children. Non-combatants. The ambassador's eyes burned. They were enemies of the Dominion. They were people. The tension in the hall spiked instantly. Several guards shifted closer to the center platform. The judge raised a clawed hand. Commander Rowan, he said, voice sharp. You are suggesting the Varelian Dominion intended harm toward civilians. Elias met his gaze. I'm stating what we saw. The ambassador slammed a hand onto the railing. Your interference allowed traitors to escape justice. Elias felt anger rise in his chest. They were suffocating in a dying ship. They were criminals. They were children. The ambassador opened his mouth to reply. Then a sound echoed through the hall. A soft chime. It came from the Varelian throne. Every eye turned. Queen Elara had risen. The chamber fell completely silent. Even the artificial intelligences dimmed their projections in respect. The queen moved forward slowly, her long silver robes flowing behind her like starlight. She stopped beside the ambassador. He immediately bowed. "My queen." She lifted a hand. He fell silent instantly. Her luminous eyes studied the human commander across the hall. Elias felt as if the weight of a star had settled on his shoulders. Queen Elara spoke. Just one sentence. "Bring the children forward." The entire hall froze. No one moved. Not the judges. Not the ambassadors. Not even the guards. For several seconds, the silence felt almost unreal. Then Elias blinked. "What?" the reptilian judge asked. The queen's gaze never left Elias. "You said there were children," she said calmly. "Bring them forward." The chamber erupted in whispers. The Varelian ambassador looked stunned. "My queen," he said carefully, "those refugees escaped. They are no longer present." Elias spoke. "They're here." Every head snapped toward him. The ambassador stared in disbelief. "That is impossible." Elias gestured toward the entrance. "I brought them." The massive doors at the back of the hall slowly opened. Gasps spread through the chamber. A group of humans stepped inside. Behind them walked 12 small figures. Children. They were Varelian. Their silver skin was dull and pale from weeks in a damaged transport. Their clothes were worn and patched. Several held hands as they walked nervously into the enormous chamber. The hall fell silent again. Even the Varelian ambassador looked shocked. Queen Elara's expression didn't change, but her eyes softened slightly. The children stopped near Elias. One of them clung to his sleeve. "They're scared," Elias said quietly. The reptilian judge leaned forward. "Commander Rowan, are you claiming these are the refugees your fleet rescued?" "Yes." "And they are Varelian?" "Yes." The Varelian ambassador stepped forward slowly. "This cannot be." He looked at the children carefully. Recognition spread across his face. "They're from House Valari." The name caused another wave of murmurs. Elias frowned. "What does that mean?" The ambassador hesitated. Then he looked toward the queen. Queen Elara spoke softly. "House Valari led the rebellion." Elias nodded. "That's what we were told." The ambassador straightened. "They are traitors to the Dominion." Elias felt the child beside him grip his sleeve tighter. He looked down at her. She couldn't have been older than 7. Traitor? She barely looked old enough to read. The ambassador continued. "Commander Rowan interfered with a lawful operation and aided enemies of the Dominion." The judge turned to Queen Elara. "My queen, how does the Dominion wish to proceed?" The chamber held its breath. Queen Elara walked slowly down the steps from her throne. She approached the children. They watched her nervously. One small boy hid behind Elias. The queen knelt. It was such an unexpected action that several diplomats gasped. Varelian royalty did not kneel. Yet she did. She studied the children one by one. Her voice was quiet. "Where are your parents?" A girl answered in a trembling voice. "They stayed behind." "Why?" "They said we had to leave." The queen's gaze flickered. "And the human ship rescued you?" "Yes." The girl hesitated. "He gave us food." She pointed to Elias. "And blankets." The queen slowly stood. She turned back toward the hall. Hundreds of eyes watched her. The ambassador spoke urgently. "My queen, these children belong to traitorous bloodlines. They cannot be allowed to." She raised a hand again. Silence. Queen Elara looked at the judges, then at the gathered ambassadors, then at Elias. Her voice carried across the entire hall. "These children are not soldiers." The ambassador stiffened. "My queen, they are not rebels. But their families, they are children." The ambassador fell silent. The queen turned fully toward the assembly. Her eyes gleamed. "The Dominion has many enemies," she said calmly, "but we are not monsters." The chamber remained completely still. She gestured toward Elias. "This human risked conflict with our fleets to save lives." The ambassador's jaw tightened. He interfered with the military action. Yes. Her gaze sharpened, and he chose compassion. No one spoke. Queen Elara looked around the chamber. "Tell me," she said quietly, "which is the greater crime?" The question hung in the air. No one answered. The reptilian judge cleared his throat. "My queen, are you suggesting the charges be dismissed?" Queen Elara turned toward Elias. Their eyes met. For the first time since the hearing began, Elias saw something unexpected in her expression. Respect. "Yes," she said. The judge hesitated. The Varelian ambassador looked furious. But no one challenged the queen. The judge raised his staff. "Then by the authority of the Galactic Assembly, the charges against Commander Elias Rowan are dismissed." The staff struck the floor. A deep tone echoed across the hall. The hearing was over, but no one moved. Elias looked down at the children beside him. The smallest one tugged his sleeve again. "Are we in trouble?" she whispered. He smiled faintly. "No," he said. "You're safe." Queen Elara approached him. The hall grew quiet once more. Up close, she was even more imposing. Her silver eyes studied him carefully. "You disobeyed orders to rescue them." Elias shrugged slightly. "Someone had to." She considered that. "Your commanders knew you were bringing them here?" "No," her brow lifted slightly. "That was bold." Elias chuckled softly. "Desperate." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then the queen looked at the children again. "They will be placed under Dominion protection," she said. The ambassador stepped forward. "My queen, surely they should be returned for." Her gaze cut through him like a blade. "They will be protected." He bowed stiffly. "As you command." Queen Elara turned back to Elias. "You have created a complication." "Sorry about that." She studied him again. "You saved lives." Elias nodded. "I do it again." For a moment, the queen simply looked at him. Then she spoke quietly. "The galaxy often believes strength means cruelty." Elias shrugged. "Sometimes it just means doing the right thing." A faint smile appeared on her lips. It was brief, but several ambassadors noticed. And the whispers began immediately, because the entire hall understood something in that moment. The human commander had not just defended himself. He had changed the course of the trial, all because of one sentence, the one the queen had spoken. "Bring the children forward." And in that instant, the entire galaxy had gone silent.